So Joy Reid had put out a report just last night, and a lot of the right wingers have been calling her out for it. But that's not the main reason why I'm calling her out, because their reasoning was basically she was just repeating something she already heard about a week ago. So before we get into Joy, now you remember in Ukraine when all the videos were coming out about how they were just basically being just open white supremacists to Africans, and they wouldn't let them on the trains, and they was holding them at gunpoint, pushing them off of the trains, letting the white women on, and all different things that we had seen in the videos. Immediately we start talking about this on social media. We immediately start talking about it. I end up making a report, and we put that on the screen about it on February 28th, 2022, detailing how Africans were treated and also about the racist coverage from the Western media. All that time, the Western media in the United States was acting like it wasn't even happening. They would just kept saying, oh my God, look at the poor Ukrainian people. Jesus Christ, no. White Jesus helped them. This can't happen to people that like them. This is Europe, right? So while all this is going on, they're not paying attention to the open white supremacy that's going on in Ukraine. And they actually have a battalion in the Ukrainian army that's part of their National Guard that is a neo-Nazi organization, complete neo-Nazi organization. And America knows this. This is why at one point in time, funding was blocked from going to Ukraine due to this neo-Nazi organization that's in their army, okay, in the Ukrainian army. And just now recently, they took the ban off for giving money to their countries that have neo-Nazis. How convenient, because they couldn't do it before, because Congressional Black Caucus member actually stood up for a change to stop money going into the hands of a white supremacist, okay? So we was covering all these things, calling this out, putting up the videos left and right, left and right, left and right. Well, then Joy Reid, you know, she definitely watch everything that we say on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Joy does that. Now, Joy don't say nothing to nobody. Joy don't even, you know, whatever, right? Joy works for Western media. Well, I want you to hear exactly the report Joy put out. And I'm like, where you heard this before? Let's go ahead and roll that.
As the world watches the devastation unfold in Ukraine, nearly 4,000 miles away, another crisis is deepening that we don't hear much about in the U.S., and that is the war in Yemen. In March of 2015, a Saudi-led coalition backed by the United States intervened militarily in Yemen in a bid to fight Iran-backed Houthi rebels. It has triggered one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world due to widespread hunger, disease, and attacks on civilians. 4 million Yemenis have been forced to flee their homes. Now, what we're seeing in Ukraine is absolutely the worst humanitarian crisis that Europe has seen in decades. But we haven't witnessed the same type of solidarity for the Yemenis as we do for the Ukrainians. We don't see historic sanctions or global campaigns, corporations like Airbnb and Netflix taking a stand. And this is not to say that we shouldn't care this much for Ukraine. Far from it. The point is, we should also care this much for refugees and those facing occupation and war in the Middle East and Asia and Africa, too. The coverage of Ukraine has revealed a pretty radical disparity in how human Ukrainians look and feel to Western media compared to their browner and blacker counterparts, with some reporters using very telling comparisons in their analyses of the war.
It's very emotional for me because I see European people with blue eyes and blonde hair being killed, children being killed every day with Putin's missiles.
The unthinkable has happened to them. And this is not a developing third world nation. This is Europe.
This isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen.
Civilized. Okay, let's face it. The world is paying attention because this is happening in Europe. If this was happening anywhere else, would we see the same outpouring of support and compassion? Well, we don't need to ask ourselves if the international response would be the same if Russia unleashed their horror on a country that wasn't white and largely Christian. Because Russia has already done it in Syria. This is a teachable moment for us in the media. We aren't afraid to call out our own industry. There is a lot of soul searching that we need to do in Western media about why some wars and lives seem to matter more than others, and why some refugees get the welcome mat.
Joy literally watched our videos, all of us who've been reporting on this. Joy was being lazy, but at the same time, she put a spin on it because the deal was about Africans. It had nothing to do with no Yemen people. There's been plenty of black people that has been suffering all kind of things at the hands. You could have talked about Libya and how when NATO, including the U.S., went bomb Libya and all those black people that was killed in those bombings, they didn't talk about those people. They didn't talk about that humanitarian crisis that came out of Africa whatsoever. They act like nothing ever happened. They took a duly elected leader by Muammar Gaddafi and had this man killed in a very, very brutal manner. You saw what happened to Iraq and all those refugees that was in Iraq, right? They ended up killing Saddam Hussein. These people have done so many different things to different people, right? I just noticed you just focus on Yemen, though. But, you know, I get it. They got to put their spin on it. But we already talked about this already, Joy. Joy is being lazy. The mainstream media is being lazy. They're thinking that you and I are not going to pay attention to this. Let me tell y'all something. Right now, we're running the yard. We're running the yard, and they don't like this. They cheat all day long to get viewership. They collaborate with social media companies to push their videos and their posts above everyone else's. And it's openly done, especially on this platform here, because they call it authoritative sources. Because you remember YouTube prior to 2015, NBC couldn't even get views on YouTube. CNN, Fox News, nobody would watch that mess at all. But when they switched that thing up, they push their videos above everybody, not because everybody want to watch it. That's why I tell people it's not all the time that people's getting a lot of views. Sometimes some people's being pushed up in the algorithm, you know, just because they want to push them up. You know, certain people are making a certain amount of content, money, etc. on this platform because the system on here is behind them. But we're running the yard here. We're running the yard. We are setting the discourse of what it should be for black people. And that's not a good thing for them because you have to understand they have to try to control the narrative much as possible, especially the narratives coming to black people. So what they end up doing is, okay, hey, Joy, okay, we can't sway black people to get behind this Ukraine situation. So Joy, we need you to go out there. And remember yesterday when we talked about the Roland situation, we talked about how they're paid to speak the language that we are speaking. Remember, she took literally the same live stream I made 8 days ago, okay, and literally repackaged that into something herself. Okay, so they listen at what we're doing and they put it on network television to make it sound good. And even the Bible teach that in the last days, the devil will be so deceptive, he would even deceive the elect. Well, how can the devil deceive the elect? He's going to speak just like you. OK, but he's going to put a twist on it, just like Joy put a little twist on it in her reporting. You understand? So the point is Joy is paid also to get y'all in line, just like Roland is paid to get y'all in line. Joy is paid to get black folks on a particular narrative with the Democrat Party. She is. That's what she's paid to do. It's not about ratings. So Joy Reid don't get ratings like that. She don't. The people who's really getting all the ratings on TV right now is Fox News. Their particular audience is very faithful to them, and they watch them. CNN is in the toilet. Ever since Trump then got out of office, CNN don't have nobody to really talk about no more, right? So nobody watches them. Joy is trying to speak the language and try to pull in those black people so she can get them to, because the whole finesse is they can't really do a whole lot like they want to do without black people being all for it. This is why Kamala recently said, well, you know, what's going on in Ukraine, it's like what happened in the civil rights movement. No, it's not. That is white on white crime. Civil rights movement was not about no white on white crime. That was about white supremacist terrorism on innocent black people. That is totally different. And it's despicable to even try to compare what's going on with Russia and Ukraine to what our ancestors have been through. But this is why that a lot of black folks have said that this is why you want somebody from the soil representing the black community, because they would not even say nothing like this. I mean, unless they sold out. So, you know, we do have some that would be selling out, saying things like that. But I couldn't even get that out my mouth because, see, they're not liking that we have taken this position. They don't like that we're saying, oh, hell no. I mean, okay, this is the way you're going to treat black people? Man, I don't care nothing about what y'all got going on over there. Ain't my problem. My problem is these gas prices right now. You know, my problem is this inflation. My problem is, you know, what's going on in these schools with our kids, whatever the issues we talking about, that's our problem. You know, now I know some of our brothers and sisters are still stuck in Sumy, Ukraine. And they was even shelling in the area where those brothers and sisters are at. And, you know, those brothers and sisters wouldn't be in that position. It wouldn't been for these racist Ukrainians. Let's call that what it is. You got African students that's holed up in the area now that was shelling is going on, and they could have got out of Ukraine, but you have these freaking racists that's in their military, they police, and even their own citizens. Black folks said that they was putting dogs and cats on those trains and not letting black folk. How evil and despicable can you be? How in the hell is black folk gonna feel sorry for anybody that you prioritize a dog or a cat than human beings? So right now, dogs and cats are in freaking other countries right now, while black people are holed up under shelling right now in Sumy, Ukraine. They don't know if they're gonna even survive that. But dogs and cats got to go to another country. Dogs and cats. This is the priority of these people. Dogs and cats. I told y'all many times before, they view their pets as in a higher position than black people. So Joy Reid can miss me with all that, trying to do all that word salad, trying to copy what we say and then try to put her spin on it. We have seen the videos over and over and over. That's why black folks say we don't care about what's going on over there. That's their issue. That's their problem. The only thing that I pay attention to, it's amazing how, you know, when we talk about global white supremacy, with this Russia thing, we got to really see global white supremacy in action. You know, when you two connected with their system, that's how they can hurt you like that. Because what I've never seen them do to a country what they do in Russia right now. I mean, it's something that we all need to pay attention to. See, back in the day, black folks didn't trade things on trade money like that. Black folks was on the barter system. And when you're on a barter system, hey, okay, I need this from you. You give me this in return. It had nothing to do with no money. Understand what I'm saying? That's the only way you can really defeat their system like that, because you can't be a part of it, right? As long as you connect it to every single thing in their system, they can just say, okay, we'll sanction you. We'll take your money away. We'll, you know, they shutting down all of the McDonald's. They're shutting down all the other restaurants, anything American, Starbucks, anything American is in there. They making them shut everything down and get out of there. So the people of that country is actually suffering right now. And you're going to create another refugee crisis going out of Russia, because I see their shelves are empty right now. They can't get food. You know, they trying to get fighting for this, fighting for that, all because of what these people chose to do with this sanction deal. You know what I'm saying? But we're looking at these gas prices right now that's going up. You know, Biden saying nothing he can really do about it. And that's a lie. That is a freaking lie, because let's call it what it is. I have worked in the petrochemical industry for 20 years, and I know what make gas prices go up, and I also know what make them go down. Now, the truth is America was only getting 2% of their oil from Russia, only 2%. The bulk of their oil did not even come from Russia like that. So they're saying, oh, well, Russia is the reason why the gas price. No, let me tell you all the truth is going on with these gas prices. It's a lie when they're talking about the Russia thing. So when you have the market, okay, when you have a high demand and you have less product, well, then the price of gas will go up. We have more product on the market and less demand, where the price will drop down. Now, how do the oil companies manipulate the market? Well, they just cut down on production. That's what they do. They cut down on production. And it's not really the highest demand right now because it's not even the summer driving season as of yet, right? Maybe some people drive this week or next week or so when people are on spring break. But outside of that, there's no reason for the gas prices to be this high right now. And they always use a freaking war. You have to understand, during that lockdown, when everybody was in the house, the oil companies wasn't making no money. You remember oil went to negative $60 at one point in time because nobody was driving anywhere, right? So these people, whether it's the oil companies, whether it's the retailers, whether it's everybody, they are sitting there jacking the prices up because it's not all inflation now. They're jacking these prices up. These particular CEOs are happy about all these record profits they're making at the expense, of the people, right? These are the issues and problems that we need to deal with. Corporate greed, this capitalism can be an evil thing. And that's what you're seeing right now happen to us. So why in the hell should we be concerned what's going on in Ukraine when we got our own evil, things going on right here in America? You got people that's homeless out here, that's suffering. We got so many different things going on, even in our own communities, because it's not going to get any better. It's not. Now, Joy Reid should be talking about that. Why are you worried about some people that has nothing to do with us? If anybody should worry about that, it should be the EU, because that's their neighbor. Why are you worried about it? The only time I'm gonna keep talking about this is when it's gonna affect us in any way, shape, or form. And this is why I'm talking about Joy Reid, because Joy Reid and what she's doing is just trying to deceive the elect. That's all she's doing. And I'm trying to point this stuff out to y'all so y'all can pay attention and say, wait a minute. Oh, I see what she's doing. Oh, I see what Boulay Martin is doing. Oh, I see what this one is doing. I see what that one is doing. You'll hear it. Anytime you hear them speaking like us, because in the past what people would do is get excited. Say, oh, yeah, look, they finally talk about it on TV. Let me tell you something. It's still the Western media, folks. It's still the Western media. The same media that was saying all that, this is Europe, we civilized, this is white people, all that stuff that they were saying. MSNBC is not black owned, black ran, and black centered. Okay. It's still them folks. Joy Reid is an employee and she's reading the teleprompter or what they put up there, because they got to get black folks. Once again, I'm repeat this. They got to get you on board. If they get black people on board, that really will help. Black folks either staying silent about it or being against it. Most black folks are just kind of like, man, look, I see what's happening in Ukraine. I don't support them people. They racist. And black folks are staying out of it. That's not good for messaging. This is why they have said on another report, oh, well, it's kind of divided on the message. Well, the divisions come in really from a lot of black people. Just to be honest with you, because we've seen the racism. What they wanted is black folks to be all behind this. And because, when we get behind something, the world pay attention to it. And when we are against something, people pay attention to that as well. That's really what it is, ladies and gentlemen. They always want us to co-sign everything because we are the leader of culture in this country. They're not. Then they have the control of everything else and manipulation. But they know that we move the needle of culture. Good things that we do or bad things that we do, or even in between. This is why, they're always trying to attack black Americans as well about the LGBT, because we don't co-sign that, as a community. We just don't. We have an attitude like, well, we respect what people, respect people's lives, but we just don't co-sign that. That's not what we do. And so that's why they always attack us like that. Because they know if we co-sign it, then they can do bigger things with it. Understand what I'm saying? It's not just the small increment things that they're doing. So we are the culture, ladies and gentlemen, of America, and our culture is the dominant culture in the world. And that's why some people don't like us, other groups, or even people sometimes within our own, black family globally sometimes, because they want to be the culture, and that's just not really what it is. Right now they say, because we are the culture, and we wear the crown, there's a lot of suffering to go with that. and other people don't really want to deal with that suffering that we deal with, because some people would run out of this country so quick. If they say, here, you want to wear the crown, wear it. And if they feel that crown on their head, they're like, oh, hell no, y'all can take this back. This comes with too much pain, too much suffering. No. But be careful. Be careful with the Joy Reids and the rest of them, and the urban leagues and all of them. The moment you hear them using our language, you better perk your ears and always remember that the devil has come to even deceive the elect in the last days. Don't be deceived. That's what they want to do. They want to deceive you. They always will speak a little truth to deceive you. And then they're going to follow it with lies and mix it in. That's the only way they can get you. You got to remember that. That's the only way deception can stick to you. And, I understand there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that really want to hear, the right thing and just the obvious. But if it's coming from Western media or anybody on Western media that works for them, that collects a paycheck from them, it's all deception, folks. But thank you for joining us on the podcast this morning. Greatly appreciate your time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll know exactly when we post another podcast. And make sure you click the like button. Also share it with about 5 people. We would greatly appreciate that, to share the podcast with many people. And once again, thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen, and see you next time.